7 Action News at 6 starts right now.
Well, as more employers and businesses require COVID vaccinations, we are finding religious exemptions are becoming a contentious issue for some people.
Metro Detroit is very religiously diverse, of course. Generally, most institutional religions, Christian, Jewish, Islamic religions, do not oppose vaccines.
7 Action News reporter Jim Kirchner goes in depth tonight to find out how this is playing out here.
This involves workplace settings, schools, and businesses. Ascension St. John requires med students to be vaccinated or get an exemption for medical or religious reasons.
I've been dreaming and wanting to do ever since the 10th grade. I feel like I'm being withheld from my education because I didn't want a medical procedure done.
This is a video Angelina Payette shot on Monday, her first day of class. She's one of only 12 students who were accepted into the St. John radiology class. She says she was kicked out shortly after this video by the instructor. She is not vaccinated.
Yep, just kicked me to the curb. I actually was wearing a mask and everything. But no, she didn't give me any other option.
We'll come back to her in a minute. Wayne State University requires vaccinations for the fall semester and allows waivers. On the form it says a religious exemption will not be granted based on a philosophical, moral, or conscientious objection.
My hope is that people do not use religion as a cover because they don't want to get the vaccine. That's bad for everybody. It's bad for our society in general. We want to reserve these accommodations for people that truly need them.
Wayne State tells us of the 24,000 faculty and students, 1,374 requested waivers, mostly for religious, not for medical reasons, and 95% of the waivers were granted. Pope Francis said yesterday, humanity has a history of friendship with vaccines. Even the ACLU does not oppose vax mandates. The legal standard for a religious exemption has become it must be based on a sincerely held religious belief. The employer is justified in seeking additional information. The process is interactive between the employee and human relations. Not getting a vaccination would cause an undue burden on the employer's business.
The employer also has to deal with other people's potential safety and health. So it's a very complicated situation. One of the things employers are going to be asking is, are there other vaccines you have not gotten? Because that's going to shed some light on the sincerity of a religious belief.
U of M Michigan Medicine also requires vaccinations for 30,000 employees. Their deadline was August 30th. They're still calculating how many exemption requests have been filed. Henry Ford Health System, like the U of M, requires vaccinations. Each application for a religious exemption is reviewed by a multidisciplinary team against a defined set of criteria.
But I just want to emphasize for everybody out there, because I know I'm getting a lot of calls, from what the way the case law currently stands, it's going to be a tough road.
We found websites that help people request exemptions. One urged personalize, use your own words, and also include words like sacred, holy, worship, blessed, and others. Back to Angelina. She's not sure if she's going to stay in class at St. John.
The teacher, with the way she was acting about it and her body language and the words she was using and the hostility that was there between us, I feel like it would not be a fun 2 years.
Employers and schools that do grant exceptions require masking, distancing, weekly tests, and other accommodations. In Detroit, Jim Kirchner, 7 Action News.
Jim, thank you. We got a statement from Ascension St. John about Angelina's case. It says, in part, over recent weeks, we have been working with Ms. Payette on the needed documentation to be submitted to request a religious exemption from the COVID-19 vaccine. Beyond that, we do not speak publicly on personnel matters.